Given angle theta is in standard position with its terminal arm in quadrant 4 and cos of theta equals 2/5. And before we continue to read the rest of the question, that first part of that phrase sounds like so many questions that we've already answered so far in chapter 6 and chapter 7. Given an angle theta in standard position, terminal arm in quadrant 4, and cos of theta is 2/5, what kind of question does this sound like? A triangle question, right? Because they give you enough information that you know the angles in quadrant 4, so you can draw a reference angle. You know that cos of that angle is 2/5, so we can label adjacent over hypotenuse. And we can do a squared plus b squared equals c squared and find the other side. Now in A, they ask us to find sine 2 theta. And the only thing, like this triangle doesn't help us with 2 theta. This is a reference angle for theta. But we have a formula now for sine 2 theta, that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. And if we go to our triangle here, well, in the question we were given that cos of theta was 2/5, and we figured out that sine of theta would be, now it's in quadrant 4, so it's negative root 21 over 5. So if I would want to find sine of 2 theta, since I know what sine of theta is and I know what cos of theta is, I can just plug things into this formula. Sine of theta is negative root 21 over 5, and cos of theta was positive 2 over 5. Multiply fractions together, multiply my numerators. I'll get negative 4 root 21, multiply by denominators, over 25. Now in part B, we're asked to find cos 2 theta. Again, our reference angle is just for theta, so we won't be able to see the answer directly from our triangle, but we have a choice of 3 formulas that we can use for cos 2 theta. And whenever you have this choice of 3, all 3 will work, but one is usually the best. So in this case, I want you to think about all 3 formulas and see if you can come up with which one you think would be the best one to use and why. Anybody have a preference of one of those 3? So you chose the 2 cos squared theta minus 1. And why did you like that one? Because it has only cos in it. And having only cos in it, like we know both cos and sine. But having only cos in it, and this is why I color-coded this at the beginning, in blue, the cos theta is 2/5 was given to us in the equation. It's pretty hard to screw that value up. Okay? Because, I mean, the only way you could screw it up is write it down wrong. And I know you guys do that sometimes just for fun, but generally that's not, it's an easier one not to screw up on. For the sine theta, we didn't screw up on it. Our answer is right here. So if we use sine theta and this was our answer, it would have been fine. But can you see that you had to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared to get the root 21? You might have made a mistake with that. It's possible. Sine is in quadrant 4. More typical, do you guys ever forget the negative? Yes. Often you forget the negative in quadrant 4 for sine. So there's another small place where you could have made a mistake. So using this one, 2 cos squared theta minus 1, uses the value that you already know. Some other people said it's also nicer because there's no square roots. So just the numbers are nicer, so that might be another reason you would choose that one. Again, had you chosen cos squared minus sine squared, this would have worked, and the answer would be identical. But using this one, well, what does it mean when I have cos squared? Well, since cos is 2/5, cos squared would be 2/5 squared minus 1. And now we just have to do some basic order of operations and arithmetic to figure this out. We would square first. Squaring that will give me 4 over 25 minus 1. Multiply. This will make this 8 over 25. And if I'm going to subtract 1, I'm going to need a common denominator. So I'll change my 1 to 25 over 25. And so I get that cos of 2 theta is equal to negative 17 over 25. Now, we were told that theta was in quadrant 4. And now that we've answered A and B, you should be able to tell me what quadrant 2 theta is in. Two theta, is it in quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, or also in quadrant 4? And why is it in quadrant 3? Yes. Sine of 2 theta was negative 4 root 21 over 25. Cos of 2 theta was negative 17 over 25. They're both negative, so we know that it is in quadrant 3. Okay, try number 9 for a little bit.